All right, so yesterday we finished talking about the Renaissance man himself, Da Vinci, right? And you guys just watched that video, which is a good review and really puts things in perspective. Like I said, he was not just this artist, he was also a musician. He was also an inventor, an engineer, right? And you can see a lot of his, famous works. All right, again, I talked about linear perspective. I mentioned about how art is totally changing during this Renaissance period, thanks to these famous artists like Da Vinci. All right, again, we talked a lot about his blueprints, right? His designs, and again, how they're really ahead of its time. Almost 400, 500 years, right? When you think about the development of the first airplane, the first flight. When you think about machine guns and tanks, it's unbelievable. We won't see that until World War One, after this industrial age. And this guy was developing them in the 1500s. All right, yesterday I talked a little bit about Salvador Mundi. A lot of people have no idea if this was actually something he created or an artist just try to copy or mimic his work. If you guys get a chance, maybe look into that story a little bit more. Someone just bought it for $450 million. But did he actually create it? I don't know. Anyway, you can see the resemblance to the Mona Lisa, right? You can see the works itself. It almost gives like a smoky essence, right? Again, that was his design. That was his works when it comes to his art and painting. And yeah, Jesus, yeah, probably, right? And then a lot of people think that he tried to make Jesus his look, right, based off of Da Vinci himself. So pretty cool. All right, so Michelangelo. So I didn't get to really talk about him much yesterday, but real quick, when it comes down to Michelangelo, he is probably the best, well-known, well-rounded artist of the Renaissance. I know Da Vinci did a lot, right? When it comes to the Last Supper, when it comes to the Mona Lisa, and a lot of his other designs of the anatomy of the body, the Vitruvian Man, right? But also, right, when it comes to his engineering. But now Michelangelo here comes around, and he was famed because of his sculpting ability, but also his ability with architecture at a later age. Anyway, real quick, when it comes to Michelangelo, he was living with and trained with the Medici family. So that's patrons of the art, right? The Medici family we talked about at the start of this chapter. They're the ones that kind of housed him, brought him in at a young age, and allowed him to do his work, literally, right? And trained him to become this master artist that we know of today. So the Medici family, yeah, they devoted a lot of time, a lot of their wealth to help train, right, and help prepare Michelangelo into what we know. All right, again, we talk about Leonardo also played a lot of music for the Medici family, sure, but Michelangelo is this embodiment of this artist that was created, right, underneath that family. All right, so anyway, with this first work, the Pieta, right? The Pieta is right here in the bottom right-hand corner. This is Mary, right? The mother, Mary, and the mother of Jesus, holding Jesus in her hands, right? And you can see how this is a tragedy, right? This is devastating. You can never imagine a mother holding their dead child, right? So when you view the sculpture itself, the statue itself, it's kind of sad to think about, but also the beauty in the architecture, the beauty in the design and the detail behind it. Right. There's a lot of other perspectives about it, like, oh, hey, Mary, look at her shoulders, are so broad, right? Jesus almost looks like an infant in a way. And maybe that's to show the mother-like ability of Mary. Let's face it, the whole world, the whole weight of the world is on her shoulders. So a lot of people look at the designs of Mary and say, oh my God, her shoulder, she looks like she's a linebacker or something. This is unbelievable. But I think it also goes to show the weight, again, that was pressed on Mary when it comes to delivering the Son of God, right? When it comes to preparing the Son of God. So there's a lot of different information or a lot of different perspective that comes about this culture. Anyway, he created this right around when he was like 23 years old, right? So 23 years old, he created this beautiful work of art. It's unimaginable. It's unbelievable. Right, again, at 23, man, I was just getting out of college, just trying to find a job. So someone to create like this at that very young age, it's unbelievable. Anyway, when it comes to this dome here in the Vatican Basilica, right, he never finished this project, but this was something later in his life. He actually lived close to 8 years old. And when he became an architecture towards the end of his life, this was kind of like the last effort, right? The last, I guess to say, essence of his artwork. And his goal is to try to create this dome over this basilica, which later was finished, but he never finished it. And in any case, you can see how late in age, just picking up architecture, just, you know what, I'm going to do this today. It is unbelievable how particular and accurate he is with his designs. All right, so we'll talk about the Sistine Chapel here soon, but I'm sure you guys know David, right? The sculpture of David in the top left-hand corner. And just the beautiful designs of the muscular, right, of the detail that was placed in the sculpture. All right, so when it comes down to it, this was one block of marble, right? That was it. And he designed this again at a very young age, probably closer to 28, 27 years old. And this was actually designed for the cathedral, on top of the cathedral. So he built this about 17 feet tall. And the goal was to, top this on, on top of the cathedral. And I don't say it was the Medici family, but a lot of the leaders of this of the city of Florence, they're like, you know what do we do with it? This is such a masterpiece of such a beautiful work of art. If we put it on top of a cathedral, no one's going to actually see the detail that was placed within the sculpture. And Michelangelo's like, yeah, do whatever you want with it. I don't really care. Like, geez, unimaginable, right? He should be proud of it, which he was. But in any case, a lot of the leaders of the city states within Italy said, how about we just try to keep it somewhat in a museum, right? And that's where it is today, even. But you can see the detail within the hands, right? The fingers. And and if any artist will tell you that is probably the hardest when it comes to drawing, when it comes to painting, sculpting especially, and he just nailed it, right? He hit it out of the park. So David, right? Again, we all know David for his stories of defeating Goliath, right? And you can see how at a young age, a young David, right, just completing this task. All right, the tomb of the Medici, right? I know we watched that video of the Medici family and how many of them were buried in this tomb within Italy. And yeah, Michelangelo had a close connection with them. And he wanted to try to show his appreciation for what they did for him, right? What they gave for him. And you can see the tomb dusk and dawn, right? When it comes to life and death, and depicting these Medici family members as these Roman generals, right? With strong history, this national pride within Rome. So again, amazing views, amazing sculpting ability. And then finally here's another, another depiction of the dome inside what we were talking about earlier, and just the extreme detail, right, that was placed within this dome. Again, you got to imagine, it's not like they had these massive cranes like you see today when it comes to placing these domes, and just the beautiful artwork and designs, the ornate designs within this dome itself. It's just how they do it? It's unimaginable. Even some people today question how they created these beautiful works of art. All right, and then you guys know the Sistine Chapel. All right, this is probably Michelangelo's staple, right, when it comes to his work of art. I know there's a lot, especially when it comes to David, but the Sistine Chapel is probably his claim to fame. And, well, a little quick story about it is that when the Pope came up to Michelangelo and said, hey, we want you to create this masterpiece here. We want you to paint this fresco painting, right, in the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. And Michelangelo actually wanted to deny it. He said, no, I don't want to do this. I'm not a painter. I'm a sculptor, right? I'm an architect. And the Pope, when he comes around, you better adhere to him, right? You can't just say no to the Pope. So there's really no other things he could do. He's like, okay, well, I guess I'll do it since you're telling me I have to do it. So Michelangelo goes in, and there's a lot of rumors about it. How did he paint it on the ceiling, right? Was he up on scaffolding, right? Laying down, painting this whole time, or was he stretched out? Right, this whole time with painting above his head. Now you can imagine holding your arm up above your head like this for a long period of time. Sooner or later, you're going to be exhausted. Sooner or later, you're not going to have the ability, the fine motor skills to paint such a beautiful work like this. Anyway, I think it's well known that he did actually stand like this and painted, right, the ceiling in detail, which actually affected his posture later in his life. All right, anyway, there's also some cool stories about it. Raphael, who we're going to talk a little bit about today, not the Ninja Turtles, okay? Raphael actually breaks in to the Sistine Chapel kind of at nighttime when Michelangelo was taking a quick break, and Raphael was a little upset that he wasn't chosen to be the one to paint the Sistine Chapel ceiling. And as he breaks in, he's like, oh, let's see what this guy has, right? Let's see what his work is. And at the time, you never interrupt an artist, right? Even today, you never interrupt an artist when they're working, right? When they're painting, when they're designing. And you can't see the product until it's finished. Well, Raphael breaks in, he looks up in amazement. He's like, okay, you know what? I get it, right? He did really knock this out of the park, right? He did an awesome job when it came to creating his Sistine Chapel paintings. So, yeah, I guess he agreed to it. But he was a little upset. He threw a temper tantrum. that the Pope didn't choose him, which the story actually happened. I don't know, but it really just adds to the lore of it. Anyway, one of the biggest parts of the Sistine Chapel that sticks out is how we have Adam and God, right? They're about touching fingers. And this is one of those stories, biblical stories from the Bible, where we have this separation between God and creation, right? Humans on earth. And why aren't they touching fingers? Who knows, right? It looks like Adam's actually kind of bending away a little bit, which kind of details the imperfections and even how people maybe stray away from religion at an older age, which is kind of amazing to think about. A lot of different perspectives, a lot of different interpretations, but that one again really sticks out for everybody. All right, so I'll talk about Raphael and Donatello here today. I have a bell ringer for you, so real quick, I do want to look over this for you and then kind of see some designs, see what you guys did last night for your homework assignment, see where we're at, right? See where we're at. So I'm going to put this up for you. I'll talk about Da Vinci, Michelangelo's impact, their work, and then maybe I can look at an assignment that you guys might have had. Show examples. Who completed the assignment last time? Oh, okay, look at this. Anybody just do the Mona Last Supper? Or did someone, I don't know, look into a design of Da Vinci? Anybody look at a blueprint? Anybody use that for their homework assignment? Anybody? No? Oh, man. All right. Anyone want to share their work from yesterday? Anyone want to volunteer? No? Brody? You want to share your work from yesterday? Oh, what? All right, maybe I can just have you screen mirror. Does that work? I can have you just screen mirror from your desk. Does that work? All right, that works. How about we wait till we're done here, then I'll have you screen mirror. Does that work? Okay. All right, so as you guys are still working here, Brody, want a screen mirror? So you gotta have? Send a link?
Yeah, I can give you access.
Well, do you have it just up? You can just
No,
screen it.
no, I don't have.
You don't have it up? Oh, man.
I'll give you access.
Okay, that'd be great. That'd be great. Well, for the sake of time, until I get to that, I'm going to move on for now. But real quick, guys, when it comes to Da Vinci, right, obviously with his artwork, his engineering, right, when it comes to his mind, right, he was thinking in many ways that people just didn't think that way, obviously, at the time. So when it comes to the Renaissance man, Da Vinci was the Renaissance man. Right, we all know the Mona Lisa. We all know the Last Supper, the Vitruvian Man. right? And then a little bit more about some of the blueprints he had of tanks and scuba gear and bridges design. It's unbelievable. It's unimaginable someone was thinking like that way back when. Anyway, this is only going to inspire even more, right, when it comes to the scientific revolution, when it comes to the Age of Enlightenment, right? And Da Vinci was known as one of the first geniuses. Anyway, Michelangelo, when it comes to his, right, his ability, he's probably the most successful artist of the Renaissance period when it comes to his sculptures like David, right? When it comes to his beautiful work of painting of the Sistine Chapel ceiling, and his architecture when it comes to the domes that are placed in some few cathedrals, right, within Italy. So I'll get back to you guys' assignment towards the end here. I do want to talk about two other artists that you guys probably know of already. When it comes to Raphael and Donatello and some of their famous works. Again, we're not talking about Ninja Turtles here. No, no, no. Anyway, let's get to it. All right, so quick story again with Raphael. Like we talked about, this guy was more famed for his paintings. Okay. He wasn't much of a sculptor, right? He wasn't much of an architect. But when it comes to his paintings, he took a lot of pride into it. Again, a lot of the paintings you do see from these artists are fresco paintings. So they're painted on a wall. So they have, apply a little bit of water to the plaster of the wall in case it's not drywall or anything like that. But then the paints that they would use would almost be like a powder. So they apply the powder to the wet wall, and that would allow for the paint to settle in and look as beautiful as it is. Again, you got to imagine though, that using different types of powders to put up as paint. Again, powder, right? It just kind of goes everywhere, right? It kind of just flakes everywhere. So you can see just how much detail they really had and how much of a fine point they had when it came to applying this paint to the wall. Anyway, with Raphael, a lot of his paintings are referred to as the elegance and beauty, right? Especially when it comes to, again, religion, Christianity, but with the Madonnas, right? So whenever you hear about the Madonnas, right, not Madonna, the singer, no, the Madonnas here when it comes to the Mother Mary, and he liked to depict Jesus as a baby, right? Jesus as a child, and the beauty of motherhood, right? So a lot of his focus is based off of this Madonna's feel, right? This experience here that Mary had as a mother, bringing Jesus into this world, right? The Lord, our Savior, right? And when it comes down to it, he focused quite a bit on these details. Right, he also created a lot of different works. Maybe the one that sticks out to you guys the most is the School of Athens here in the bottom left-hand corner. And with the School of Athens, this is depicting this Romanesque feel, right? This feel of this national pride that Rome, right, Italy has for their history. So you can see a lot of different details. Aristotle, right? Even Galen, you can see within the image itself. A lot of people look at it and say, hey, you know what? Jesus is actually in this painting, which combines this beauty of, when it comes to the Roman Empire, its history when it comes to this education, this classical view of education, and at the same time combining religion together. So in other words, just kind of showing this essence, this national pride, right, that Italy has. Again, Italy wasn't Italy yet, but the people of this area have for ancient Rome. So the School of Athens is a great piece. Again, I'm sure you guys seen that one before. All right, here's another cool one when it comes to this transfiguration. Okay, this is a painting displaying how Jesus, as he died, right, so as he was crucified, him entering into heaven as this God, right, as this Lord, as this figure, as this angel, right? And you can see the separation as he's, rising up to the heavens, okay? And you can see the angels on the side of him as they're, making this trip, right, making this travel. Go ahead, Chloe. At the bottom of the screen, at the bottom of the screen here, at the bottom of the painting, you can see a lot of the people here on earth, right, and how their sins were forgiven, right, when Jesus was crucified. But, well, fortunately, right, sin just doesn't go away. And this is going to be this kind of battle between what is morally good, right, correct, and this heavenly being here at the top of the painting, but also here on earth as sin, unfortunately, still happens. So in any case, the child here especially, it shows and details a little bit about the child going through this kind of demonic state, right, how it is almost filled with a devil or a demon. And it just kind of details about the heaven and the earth, right? The good and the bad. Anyway, so Raphael, again, famed painter. Like I said with that story with Michelangelo, did it actually happen? I'm not sure, but he was really upset that the Pope didn't choose him to paint the beautiful works on the Sistine Chapel ceiling. So anyway, that's kind of cool. Donatello, all right? Donatello is known to be this famous sculptor. Anyway, as you can see, Donatello is a little bit older, right? So when you think about these Renaissance artists, he was one of the first when it came to detailing this classical look, this Roman, ancient Greek look of, of the anatomy of the body. Anyway, he creates David. Oh, look, another sculptor of David, right? Another statue of David. Okay, he created this out of bronze, right? A bronze sculpture. Anyway, with David here, you can see him at a very, very young age. And before he becomes king, right, in the Holy Land, and how he kind of gets his claim to fame. But this is one of the first pieces, the first works of art that really depicts the human anatomy the way it is. Anyway, with David, this might be hard to see with the picture, but his foot is on top of a head, a severed head, and that is Goliath, right? So as he defeats Goliath, really makes a name for himself, and yet later becomes king, right, within the Holy Land. Anyway, you can see the beauty of it. And he was one of the first artists to bring back this architecture, this different type of design with the statues of, the human anatomy. So he's really the first one to bring back these designs. The Guatemala, right? I think I said that right. Again, when it comes to pronunciation, it's a little tough. But this is outside of a cathedral outside of Italy, and it really just shows the military presence. As all these city-states are becoming very wealthy through trade during the Renaissance period, well, a lot of emphasis is on military, right? A lot of emphasis is on the military and the development of it, right? So yeah, after the fall of Rome, well, protection was one of the biggest key factors. And even still this day, we like to show off our military. So in this case here, for Donatello, he wanted to depict the military more in a beauty, right? More about a scene where we look at it in amazement. So yeah, it's not like it's a jet fighter or anything like that, but it is a general riding on a horse, so this cavalry. All right, so here's other pieces too. One of the biggest ones here that a lot of people look at and are amazed by, even still to this day, is Mary Magdalene, right? So if you guys don't know who Mary Magdalene is, this maybe partner, maybe relationship Jesus had here on earth, as the story goes. Anyway, with Mary Magdalene, this was actually carved, this sculpture in wood, right? And you can see almost how rough it is, how rugged it is, almost Gothic in a way. And it's almost kind of scary, right? It gives off a haunting image. Anyway, with Mary Magdalene, again, being a partner of Jesus, it brings on a lot of that, since a lot of mysterious questions. Oh, man, what happened here with this relationship? Was this something, again, that maybe Jesus said? Who knows? Anyway, Mary Magdalene, she wasn't really accepted in that society because a lot of these issues that she was seen as a prostitute. And in this case here, he depicts her almost in this demonic image. Anyway, you look at it, and it's amazing, right? How this was created way back in the 1400s and still on display today. All right, is there any questions, guys? Donatello, Raphael, right? Okay, I know I didn't get to go your artwork here, sorry, my bad. But I do have another assignment, same as yesterday, with Michelangelo and Leonardo. This time here now with Raphael and Donatello. So it's the same thing, just different artists. You guys got it? All right, it's gonna help you because I'm gonna have a part on the test where you gotta look through different artwork and find, right, what artist it is. So I'm gonna publish that here soon. See you guys later. Have a good one. Take care.
Supposed to make them into a PDF.
A PDF. Let me just do this real quick.